Hello, and welcome to my channel. My name is Paul, and this is my first official video here at the World of Vintage. To celebrate the month of January, we're going to make this January a Joan Crawford January. That's right, boys and girls. This month, we are going to be reviewing movies starring Joan Crawford. I'm going to try to get to as many of her films as possible, but I can't make any promises that I'll get to them all since this lady made a lot of films. Over 80, in fact. How exciting for us. All right, so let's just dive right in. But before we go any further, I have to give a warning. Spoilers will be spilled all over this review. So if you want to watch the movie Untamed from 1929, please stop this review right now and don't go any further. Did you all leave? Okay, good. Let's go. So the movie Untamed from 1929 was Joan Crawford's first talking picture. I know what you're thinking. Actually, it's not. Her first talking picture was the Hollywood Review of 1929. But I don't really classify that as a movie. I mean, it is a movie, but it's more of a showcase of MGM stars. This is her first bona fide movie that she did in this talking era. So naturally, there's going to be a lot riding on this film for Joan, because if she can't make the transition from silent films to talking films, she would lose her career. But obviously, the stakes are not that high for us because we know she made a massive career in talking pictures. But back then, it was very scary. So I thought it'd be interesting to take a look at, the first film that Joan Crawford starred in where you get to hear her voice. So in Untamed, Joan stars opposite Robert Montgomery as the daughter of an oil prospector that was raised in the jungles of South America. Her character, aptly titled Bingo, is a wild girl who doesn't know how to behave in proper society. If you can see where this is going, I applaud you. I mean, really, what a mess of a picture. I don't get it. Did her father not grow up in normal society, so he decided not to raise a girl who knew how to act in a normal society in 1929? I don't know. Or did he just allow his daughter to hit whoever she pleases because they're in South America? I don't get it. But regardless, we open on Bingo singing Chant of the Jungle and doing a little weird jungle dance. So let's hear a little of that.
Languid and plaintive, hear the chant of the jungle, hear the chant of the jungle.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether to characterize that singing as good or bad. I mean, I want to lead on the side of bad, but that song really has gotten stuck in my head and it's grown on me a little bit. I even sing along to it now. So, I don't know. I'll leave it up to you. And now we get to meet Bingo's father. Here he is in a bar. How nice. And he's good and snookered. He's apparently waiting for some work friends that he wants to share some oil business news with when this totally random guy comes in and wants to ask for Bingo's hand in marriage. How Victorian of you. Naturally, he says no because this is a totally random dude. Why bother? And then his friends come in and they have a nice conversation about how wealthy he's going to be. And then that random dude comes back and insults him and wants to marry his daughter. And he stabs him after they get into a fight. How absurd. But nonetheless, the two work friends take him home and Bingo's father dies. But before he goes, he entrusts the care of his adult daughter to his two work friends and informs them that Bingo is now very wealthy from his oil company that she's going to inherit upon his death. And at this point, I would really love to know what the executives at MGM were thinking at this time, because this is really an insane plot. Like, me as an adult, I'm just going to let these two random dudes take care of me because my dad died and said to let them? I don't think so. But Bingo does, and begins to call them her uncles. How Freudian. And then, continuing on in MGM's criminal pursuit of a plot, one of the uncles goes and murders the man who killed Bingo's father in a revenge plot. Now, if this wasn't a pre-code film, that man, the uncle who kills the father, would also have to die to make it even, because you can't get away with murder in a movie and without being punished for it. But since this is a pre-code film, no worries, he got away with murder. And this all happens in only the first 20 minutes of the movie. Bada bing. So from this point, the uncles decide to move Bingo to New York because why not? All debutantes should go to New York. Even if you're a wild South American jungle woman, you should also go to New York. It's just what girls do. Now, I know you may be thinking this film really has an insane, ludicrous plot that makes no sense, but there's still an hour left of the movie, and it can only go downhill from here. So let's continue. Now we get to the real meat of the story. On board the boat from South America to New York, Bingo, who is still dressing like a wild woman, meets a good-looking charm boy, Andy McAllister, played by, as referenced earlier, Robert Montgomery. The first scene they run into each other, it's kind of interesting how childlike Crawford plays that scene. Interesting in a bizarre way. I mean, after all, she acts like a 9-year-old girl and has a monkey on her shoulder. Why don't we listen into that?
Come along, dear boy, huh? Say, who's she?
How should I know? What's that got to do with you, anyway?
Come along, dear boy. Let's finish our walk. Say, ain't she got a crust?
You know that fellow?
No. I never saw anyone like him before.
Well, the woods are full of his kind back where you're going.
Take me to the woods, Uncle Ben.
Oh, come on, Andy.
Yeah, not exactly Oscar-worthy performance here. So a few scenes later, we're graced by Joan's presence, gorgeous as she is, in the porthole of her love interest cabin, eventually inviting herself in for a quick conversation and even a kiss. Naturally, Uncle Ben wouldn't be so happy when he found her in this cabin, so they decide to serenade each other out on the dock instead. Great choice, Joan. But not all is well for the star-crossed lovers. Bingo is rich, from her father's oil company, of course, and Andy is not. Remember that, because it's a really major plot point here. I know I should be surprised, as this is a film from 1929, but I always find it amusing how the woman in a relationship can be poor and supported by the man, and it's fine, but not the other way around. Now, our central conflict being established, we can transfer to New York and get a glimpse of Crawford redone from Jungle Queen to debutante. Let's take a look.
How do I look?
Oh, it's simply beautiful.
Do you like it?
What is it, another party?
No, just a few friends.
Oh, just...
Oh yes, she's lovely. Now that looks like the Joan Crawford I once knew. So a year has gone by since the lovers have last seen each other, and they just happen to run into each other at a party that Bingo's hosting that evening. Which, this leads to the most ridiculous runtime padding scene in the whole film, which is saying a lot because they had scenes with a monkey. A girl that Andy went to the party with gets into a fight with Bingo and Andy, and her new man challenges him to a fight. Hurrah for the masculine display we're about to see.
Come on, Andy, attaboy. Step around me, darling.
And now we finally arrived at the climax of the story. After Bingo tells her uncles that she's going to marry Andy, Uncle Ben secretly offers Andy about $20,000 to go away and start a new life without Bingo. And he appears to accept the check and takes that chick from the fight earlier to run away with, but don't think our wild Bingo will let him get away so easily. She shoots him.
Oh, it's all some terrible, cruel mistake, Andy. I haven't done anything to hurt you. Why have you turned on me like this?
You and I just weren't meant for each other, that's all. Good.
Which, this could all have been avoided had he just allowed Bingo to support him financially. And that is sexism. Now, I know the logical ending to this is that if Andy lives, he leaves Bingo and starts dating a less dangerous poor girl. But alas, instead, getting shot by his one true love brings them together, and Andy is given a high-paying job in the oil company that Bingo owns, and they lived happily ever after. Aww. And now for some final thoughts. So, I can't can't even make out how this plot was supposed to be logical or interesting in any way. The characters were pretty one-note, even though Bingo supposedly had some growth from jungle princess to debutante. But given the poor quality of the source material Joan Crawford had to work with here, not much difference is really seen in her change from before or after. I mean, I unfortunately have to give this film 1 star out of 4. Watching it just wasn't an enjoyable experience, and I definitely think Joan could have done way better with a better script. But the film was a box office success at the time of its release and further cemented Joan's status as a Hollywood box office draw. My only explanation for this is it was a talking picture and it was a new thing, and people wanted to see talking pictures and they would accept anything, even this mess up of movie. The audiences really loved to hear her voice for the first time and kept coming back for more. Well, this picture did not showcase Joan's true acting abilities. I'm happy to say that we will get to enjoy some of her best performances as Joan January on The World of Vintage together. So I just want to say thank you so much for watching my first video. Please like and subscribe for more. And leave me a comment below on Joan Crawford, the movie Untamed, and your thoughts. Bye guys, see you in the next one.